shoes, every cent you spend. Shoes and expensive bands. Niggas acting new, out the blue, Benjamin.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is No Cap. We actually back at it with another banger for you guys. We right now got 15 most terrifying objects found in the deep sea. If you guys are new to my channel, you guys have been coming back, please like and subscribe, share the video, comment on the video, just get the video for more exposure, you know what I'm saying? But also I do have an LA vlog coming out soon. It's just in the works of the edits. I got a lot of footage. I got footage of dispensaries, I got footage of Beverly Hills, Melrose, Cookie Store, did a bunch of stuff in LA. I went for like a little weekend trip. But yeah, let's get right into the video, guys, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button.
The ocean is deep.
Oh, and if you haven't spoke with me, you know the vibes.
Deep, vast, and often terrifying. Who knows what lurks in those crystal marine waters?
I don't think anybody can dive in Bimini and not believe that these are man-made artifacts.
You can imagine what might be waiting to be discovered below the surface. In fact, much remains to be learned from exploring the mysteries of the deep, since more than 80% of it remains unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. Imagine that the lowest point on Earth, the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean, sits at a staggering 36,000 feet below sea level.
That's crazy.
What might you find? Ancient cities? Fleets of sunken ships? Underwater museums? Even ghosts? Oh, the terror. Here are the 15 most terrifying objects found in the deep sea. Number 15. Lake Neuchatel Shark Statue.
Whoa.
Talk about terrifying. There's zero information about the actual shark statue that appears in the video. And trust me, we researched. But the location is Lake Neuchatel in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, a popular diving destination for European divers. It's unclear how or why the shark statue was located there, and this footage just makes that fact even more terrifying. But Switzerland is a very popular place to go diving, especially in the winter. With a surface of 84 square miles, Lake Neuchatel is the largest lake located entirely in Switzerland and the 59th largest lake in Europe. The Thio River enters at its southwestern end and issues from it at its northeastern end. The northwestern shore is the most thickly settled, and the slopes are covered with vineyards. But whoever placed that sculpture at the bottom of the lake, are you the Swiss Banksy? Are you responsible for more terrifying art underwater elsewhere? Before we move on, if you don't smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell today, the clown, will appear under your bed tonight.
Hear that?
Number 14, the Ghost Fleet of Truk Lagoon. South Pacific's Caroline Island harbors the Ghost Fleet of Truk Lagoon. In a surprise attack by American allies in World War II, approximately 250 Japanese aircrafts were destroyed and more than 50 ships sunk. An estimated 400 Japanese soldiers were killed in one ship alone, trapped in the cargo hold. Most of the fleet remains in exactly the same spot it was left.
Explorer, c'est dans notre ADN. Et il y a de nouveaux mondes à explorer.
PlayStation.
Largely forgotten by the world until the late 1960s. Jacques Cousteau's 1969 film Lagoon of Lost Ships explored the wreck-littered lagoon, and many of the sunken ships were then still full of bodies. As wreck divers brought attention to the site, Japan began recovery efforts, and many bodies have been removed and returned to their homes for burial. Some wreck divers often wonder, do the anguished souls of the crew and passengers who perished haunt those who dared to explore the shipwreck's remains? If you dive wrecks long enough, you'll hear tales of divers who were left with the bone-chilling feelings of this sort.
Crushed by outside pressure. There could have been no survivors.
Some indicate there was merely an eerie mood cast over the wreck, while others have suggested that they saw something down there that they can't explain. Number 13.
I'll definitely
SS
dive into the Russia.
Thistlegorm. The world-famous SS Thistlegorm was sunk in 1941 in the Gulf of Suez at the northern end of the Red Sea.
It became a world-class visitor destination.
Packed to the gunwales with a cargo of supplies destined for the British Fifth Army based in Alexandria. Armored carriers, motorcycles, jeeps, trucks, airplane parts, rifles, radio equipment, and a plentiful supply of Wellington boots can all be seen during your dive. The Thistlegorm is heaven for wreck enthusiasts, but is also one of the most underrated fish dives in the area, attracting schooling barracuda and providing a hunting ground for giant tuna and snapper. Our excursions require an early start. After breakfast on board, you'll make 2 dives on the wreck. In the early 50s, Jacques Cousteau discovered it by using information from local fishermen. He raised several items from the wreck, including a motorcycle, the captain's safe, and the ship's bell. The February 1956 edition of the National Geographic clearly shows the ship's bell in place and Cousteau's divers in the ship's lantern room. Cousteau documented diving on the wreck in part of his book, The Living Sea. That guy could find anything. Number 12. Ocean Atlas. Artist, photographer, naturalist, and diver Jason DeCaires Taylor introduced his record-breaking public sculpture to the crystal Bohemian waters in 2014. Entitled Ocean Atlas, the installation encourages coral colonization and deters tourists from endangered reefs. Forged for sustainable pH.
Hey guys, if you want to stop a girl who's walking down the street, please listen up. A guy did this to me.
pH-neutral materials designed to kickstart local coral growth, Ocean Atlas is a monumental public sculpture submerged 5 meters beneath the sea and an environmental gesture intended to portray the positive potential of human interaction with the natural world. Located off the west coast of New Providence, the 18-foot tall, 60-ton statue is currently the largest underwater statue in the world. The girl in the piece seems to struggle underneath a heavy burden, which is appropriate given that she was named after Atlas, the Greek god responsible for bearing the heavens on his shoulders.
Of the old Ocean Atlas, it's got quite a meaning to it.
As with the rest of Taylor's numerous underwater sculptures, this one was made from a special pH-neutral cement that will allow reef organisms to thrive on its surface. His statues allow new reefs to grow where none existed before, and draw tourists away from overworked diving hotspots. Maybe not terrifying, but with the world on his shoulders, that's a scary thought. Number 11. Atlit Yam. Talk about weird underworlds. Not far off the coast of the village of Atlit in the Mediterranean Sea, near Israel, lies the submerged ruins of the ancient Neolithic site of Atlit Yam. The prehistoric settlement, which dates back to the 7th millennium BC, has been so well preserved by the sandy seabed that a mysterious stone circle still stands as it was first erected, and dozens of human skeletons lay undisturbed in their graves. Today, Atlit Yam lies beneath 16 to 40 feet beneath sea level and covers an area of 40,000 square meters. The site was first discovered in 1984 by marine archaeologist Ehud Galilee, and since then, underwater excavations have unearthed numerous houses, stone-built water wells, a series of long unconnected walls, ritual installations, stone-paved areas, a megalithic structure, thousands of flora and fauna remains, dozens of human remains, and numerous artifacts made of stone, bone, wood, and flint. The site provides unprecedented insight into life in Neolithic times, when people had just discovered how to domesticate plants and animals. I bet there are ghosts there too. Number 10. The Sea of Galilee structure. A gigantic monument at the bottom of the Sea of Galilee, as well as several mysterious structures, including a gigantic stone wheel.
Explorer, c'est dans notre ADN. Et il y a de nouveaux mondes à explorer.
Be at the bottom of the sea or some shit. Dark, like, I don't know what the
Wheel
fuck.
and a moon-shaped monument.
I don't know what the hell be down there, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could be anything down there. And, like, you're completely out of your territory. Like, we are not supposed to be underwater for nothing at all, you know what I'm saying? And we're land animals, you know what I'm saying? Mammals. Yo, that's scary. scary. Even last time I petrified of sharks. Like, you never know when they're gonna come, and it's like from the neck down, like you can't see what's gonna happen. Pool, nah, I'm good. I sound like the beach. I like the pool. To be honest.
Were recently found in northern Israel. The mysterious structures have left archaeologists around the world bewildered. Who built them and what were they used for? They may be some of Israel's most mysterious structures. They're easy to miss from the roadside, but can clearly be seen from the skies or beneath the sea. The prehistoric stone monuments of Gilgal Rephaim, Jethro Cairn, and the circular structure found in the Sea of the Galilee went unnoticed for centuries in the disputed regions of the Golan and the Galilee, but still archaeologists don't know who built them or why. Theories have gone wild and include ancient calendars, ceremonial structures, or sky burial sites in which dead bodies were placed on top of stone mounds to be picked apart by vultures. The possible age of the structures is even more enigmatic and may put the estimates anywhere between 3,000 and 12,000 years ago, making them older than the pyramids of Giza and Stonehenge in Great Britain. Maybe aliens are responsible. Just saying. Number 9. Christ of the Abyss. You probably already are familiar with the picture of a Christ statue deep under the sea, and you're asking yourself where it can be found. The answer to that question is not as straightforward as you might think, as there exist more undersea statues of Christ named Christ of the Abyss scattered around the earth. The original Christ of the Abyss is immersed in the waters of San Frutuoso, not far from the worldwide renowned village of Portofino. Located more than 50 feet under the sea, the bronze statue was placed on the seabed on the 22nd of August, 1954, at the initiative of a legendary Italian diver who wanted to place a statue of Jesus following the death of his friend, which occurred during a dive a few years earlier in that spot. The statue was created by sculptor Guido Galletti. The sculpture is 8 feet high and it weighs almost 600 pounds. It's been recently restored to preserve it from corrosion and fouling and to reattach the hand that had been detached by an anchor. The Christ of the Abyss has become a tourist destination for scuba divers around the world, and we can see why. Number 8. Yonaguni Monument. In 1987, a local scuba diver instructor discovered something underwater that was far more interesting than the hammerhead sharks that swam there. Submerged stone structures lying just below the waters off Yonaguni-jima are actually the ruins of a Japanese Atlantis, an ancient city sunk by an earthquake about 2,000 years ago. He discovered this while scouting out new spots to take his clients to when the underwater rock formation took his breath away.
The sort of folks who believe that the Sphinx was built by Atlanteans.
It was a gigantic cliff face cut into a series of immense geometric terraces with broad, flat, horizontal surfaces and sheer vertical stone risers. This is known as the Yonaguni Monument. Geologists believe that it's most likely natural. The sandstones that make up the Yonaguni Formation to contain numerous well-defined parallel bedding planes along which the layers easily separate. The rocks of this group are also crisscrossed by numerous sets of parallel, vertically oriented joints in the rock. These joints are natural, parallel fractures by which the rectangular formation seen in the area likely formed. Yonaguni lies in an earthquake-prone region, so maybe that's where the mystery lies. Number 7. MS Zenobia. The MS Zenobia left Malmö, Sweden on its maiden voyage for Syria in May 1980. Loaded with tractor trailers and other cargo. Between Athens and Cyprus, the ship began to experience steering problems because too much ballast water had been pumped in. After pumping it out, the captain continued to Cyprus, meant to be the ship's second to last stop. As the list worsened, the captain decided to tow the ship out of the harbor to prevent it becoming an obstruction should it sink. 5 days after arriving, it went down in Larnaca Bay, taking all its cargo with it. Fortunately, there were no casualties in the disaster. Compared to the usual shipwreck, the whole drama was played out relatively slowly. Apart from the catastrophic failure of a state-of-the-art ferry, the mystery is that despite her intrinsic value and the $234 million cargo she carried, no investigation was ever carried out, and the owners never tried to collect the insurance. The wreck of the Zenobia is now considered to be one of the best dive sites in the world, and we couldn't agree more. Number 6. Musa, Mexico. That's right, an underwater museum in Cancun, a Mexican city on the Yucatan Peninsula bordering the Caribbean Sea. The Cancun Underwater Art Museum, known as MUSA, was conceived in 2008 as a way of preserving the marine life of the local area by drawing tourists away from nearby natural but fragile reefs of Mexico. Collaborating with British artist Jason DeCaires Taylor.
Doritos 3D are here with chili cheese nacho.
Grammarly helps make your writing clear and concise, no matter where you are. With Grammarly on your computer and phone, you always have an
and a handful of local Mexican artists.
400,000 visit MUSA, which is a big accomplishment.
The statues provide a perfect home for coral as well as a protected environment for fish and other marine life, creating, over time, a living, breathing exhibition. Covering an area of over 1,300 square feet, the museum is divided into two distinct galleries several miles apart. To place the statues on the ocean floor, the team had a special lift made for the statues. Some were so heavy that they had to be lifted into the water using lift bags. The Museo Subacuático de Arte, or the Cancun Underwater Museum, welcomes nearly 750,000 tourists yearly. What a destination! Number 5. The San Jose Shipwreck. It was 1708 when the Spanish galleon San Jose erupted into flames off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia. The ship had been at battle with the British since late afternoon, and by night, the 62-cannon galleon had disappeared into the Caribbean Sea. With it, sunk nearly 600 people and up to millions of dollars worth of gold, silver, and jewels. For centuries, the San Jose galleon lay lost on the ocean floor, but the mystery surrounding the ship began to unravel in 2015 when the Colombian government announced it had officially been found. Now it's at the center of a custody dispute among parties all staking claim to the San Jose's riches. The Colombian government hasn't revealed the exact location of the famed galleon, which is often called the Holy Grail of shipwrecks. In fact, the real-life treasure ship has long been the subject of fascination. Nobel Prize-winning author Gabriel Garcia Marquez wrote about it in Love in the Time of Cholera. The novel's main character, Florentino Ariza, planned to dive down and retrieve the San Jose's riches for his lifelong love. So romantic. Number 4. The plastic bag. An American explorer has found plastic waste on the seafloor while breaking the record for the deepest ever dive. Victor Vescovo descended nearly 7 miles to the deepest place in the ocean.
It was a great journey. Saw some really interesting things on the bottom.
The Pacific Ocean's Mariana Trench. He spent 4 hours exploring the bottom of the trench in a submersible built to withstand the immense pressure of the deep. He found sea creatures, but also found a plastic bag and sea wrappers. The Mariana Trench, the deepest point in the ocean, extends nearly 30.
That's sad. This plastic all the way down at the bottom. That's crazy. That's really, really bad. You know how long it must take for that plastic bag to sink all the way down? That's crazy.
36,000 feet down in a remote part of the Pacific Ocean, but if you thought the trench could escape the global onslaught of plastic pollution, you'd be wrong. A recent study revealed that a plastic bag, like the kind given away at grocery stores, is now the deepest known piece of plastic trash. Other debris was prevalent, and plastic bags in particular made up the greatest source of plastic trash. Other debris came from material like rubber, metal, wood, and cloth. Most of the plastic, a whopping 89%, was the type of plastic that's used once and then thrown away, like a plastic water bottle or disposable utensil. Come on, people. Number 3. The Locomotive Graveyard. This graveyard was found by chance by Paul Hepler back in 1985, the famous New Jersey train graveyard. He was mapping the bottom of the ocean when he picked up on the 2 huge metal objects that turned out to be trains. Despite the murky water, experts examined the trains in the watery resting place. The locomotives turned out to be a rare Planet Class 222T models, a model that was only produced for a short time due to the unfortunate fact that they were obsolete almost as soon as they were produced.
You thought this thing was pretty old, possibly even 100 years or so.
They were small locomotives, weighing about 15 tons, and self-contained. What remains a mystery, however, is how the 2 steam engines came to be sunk. Experts believe that the locomotives were being transported from Boston to the mid-Atlantic on a barge when they encountered a storm 5 miles off the coast of Long Branch. In that storm, the engines either fell.
Imagine living through that time, but all you relied on was your compass. You was on a boat and you off water. There's whatever they said it was cracking back in the day. They were crazy shit. You gotta worry about fucking you up with fucking cannonballs in the side of your boat, like, real. Piracy, all that crazy shit, like, shit must have been real. Badass. Jump on water, you're dead, like, it's over for you. Like, they're not coming to get you, like, it's over. Crazy.
Off the barge accidentally or were deliberately pushed off to lighten the load and prevent the ship from going down in the rough seas. In spite of that, they seem to be remarkably well preserved. What a find! Number 2. The Antikythera mechanism. 115 years ago, an archaeologist was sifting through objects found in the wreck of a 2,000-year-old vessel off a Greek island. Beautiful vases and pots, jewelry, a bronze statue of an ancient philosopher, and the most peculiar thing, a series of brass gears and dials mounted in a case the size of a mantel clock. Archaeologists dubbed the instrument the Antikythera mechanism. In 1959, after a careful study of the gears, it was determined that the mechanism was used to predict the position of the planets and stars in the sky, depending on the calendar month. It also tracked the seasons in ancient festivals like the Olympics.
Wow,
Visa Zero Liability gives you the confidence to shop online because you don't pay for fraudulent purchases. What you do with that confidence is up to you. For peace of mind, shop online with Visa credit or debit.
Smart.
The calendar is based on the time from one moon to the next, and a special dial allowed the user to also envision the seasons, which would have been useful for agriculture. Since the ancient Babylonians figured out the cycle of eclipses, the inventor of the Antikythera mechanism included 2 dials that rotate to show both lunar and solar eclipses. But the most sophisticated thing the mechanism did was lunar calculations. It could figure out the moon's period at a given time and model its elliptical orbit. Number 1. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. In the annals of unexplained mysteries, the Baltic Sea Anomaly is one of the most bizarre deep-sea finds of the past decade. The discovery occurred in 2011 when a deep-sea exploration team called Ocean X came across an unusual formation 300 feet below the surface off the coast of Sweden. They quickly picked up on the anomaly due to its circular shape and distinctively straight protrusions. Adding to the mystery was what appeared to be an extensive trail. What some speculated could be evidence that a crash landing may have taken place.
What exactly that object might be.
But a Stockholm University geologist studied a few rocks that divers picked up from the site, and there wasn't a single alien life form among them. Instead, there were mostly regular stones that everyone would expect from the kind of glacial basin the Baltic Sea fills. But most experts agree that the structure is probably nothing close to man-made. No doubt, the site has intrigued conspiracy hunters since it was discovered, with inexplicable technical problems plaguing anyone who tries to investigate. The object could be at least 140,000 years old. Scary old. That was 15 of the most terrifying objects found.
Yo, that's crazy. But if you guys did stay the whole video, I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, share the video, comment on the video, and I'll see you guys next time, man.